Greetings, everybody. This is Salkis Re, professional life coach for professional women. Our official website is theuglygirlsclub.com, where you can book one-on-one coaching sessions with me and get digital products to help you on your journey towards self-love and healing. Today's message is this: what does femininity mean to you? Let me say this. The reason why I started the Ugly Girls Club was to help women see the meaning of their lives. I wanted women to climb out of the box society has placed them in, a box where mediocrity and abuse are the only two things a Black woman should expect or could expect, right? The goal here is not to look for justifications for our pain. No, we're not doing that here. The goal isn't to point fingers at people who won't and don't care if we publicly condemn them. That's a waste of time too. The goal isn't to make yourself more beautiful as a way to fix your inferiority complex. And let me talk a little bit about that. Feeling inferior will likely ride your back for the rest of your life, because everything you strive for, everything you strive to be or experience, must first be filtered through a lens of those or from those who set the standard for what can be called intelligent, attractive, or worthy. So as long as someone who looks like you isn't designated the decision maker as to who can be classified as intelligent, attractive, or worthy, you're always going to doubt your worth. You're always going to be battling, maybe a little sometimes and maybe a lot, this inferiority complex, because the people who decide don't look like you. The people who decide can't relate to you. Okay? So let's just get we're getting the elephant out of the room now. We're addressing that. So we have to function in a sort of collective psychosis here, right? You and I were born into a collective psychosis, and that psychosis is defined as a disconnection, a loss of connection with reality. That's everybody that you talk to, everybody that you're trying to impress, everybody that you hate, everybody that you love, everybody that you're trying to get along with. There's a disconnect going on there. No one around you wants to be free. That's another black pill and another revelation that I need for you to understand and accept if your goal is to really settle into who you are and function in a way where you're above average in this society and in your community and the people around you. You have to accept certain things now, and you can't just operate with kid gloves anymore. If people around you really wanted to be free, if they wanted to be free, there wouldn't be a concern about what other people think of you, or at least not to the point of you refuting your own worth. You wouldn't care. If the goal was to be free and you knew that you'd be pigeonholed by someone else's opinion, you wouldn't strive to have them or be approved of by them, right? But that is the goal of mostly everybody that you know. If you want people to know you are smart, it's because you need their approval. If you want people to know that you're beautiful, it's because you need their approval. If you want people to know you have money, it's because you need their approval. And there's nothing wrong with seeking approval. Let me just say that, right? Let me clarify some things here. There's nothing wrong with wanting someone else's approval if you actually get it. That's the caveat there. And from all the efforts and all the sacrificing you make, you get it, then that's great. But what do we know? You don't get it. What you do get is a bunch of people who may be amused by you occasionally, but more so people who are bored trying to get what they need from you, and they just move on. That's usually the sum total or the end result of all our toiling and negotiating and compromising and begging that we do. People just lose steam and lose interest, and they just go on to another victim. So you have some decisions to make about the direction that your life is going to go, or the direction that you're going to take your life, because you are the captain of your ship and you steer your boat. Where are you going? Where are you going? This fight for identity, and now we have to fight for the the label femininity even. Listen, I understand that not only is it sad and embarrassing to have to defend your femininity, it's also confusing, and it can feel isolating as well, because the definition of it now is more of a look than it is a thing, than it is a demonstration of character, right? It's all in the look, it's all in the softness of the voice and what have you that is defined as feminine. And, you know, I have real life references, like I said in my previous video, where when I was growing up, my mother cooked breakfast, lunch, and dinner. I mean, that was her MO. House was spotless. I remember going to the fabric store with my mother and her picking out cloth to make me and my sister dresses. My mother sewed dresses for us. She sewed curtains for us. She was that kind of homemaker. And I saw that and experienced it and lived that. That would be to some very much the epitome of femininity, not having to work, having the man lead and take care of the household and bring home the resources. And she took care of us and made sure that we were well fed and always looked after, always protected, and everything else, right? And that was hard work. That wasn't easy work. That was sacrifice on a whole nother level, a whole nother level. And people want to toy with this thing called femininity and make it look like some sort of stage prop, some sort of thing that you perform, you know, for cheers and for looks and for admiration, right? And for worship. And being a woman and being a feminine woman, when you really pull back the layers, is about sacrifice. You're sacrificing a little bit of your comfort for the people that you care about because you just feel like it's worth it. But I would say more so than sacrifice, being a feminine woman is about being self-sufficient. I truly believe that being a full feminine woman is self-sufficiency. I can't get with the idea that somehow you are better or in a better, more secure position than another woman because you are totally dependent on a man's money, whether he has means or not. You know, if you have to ask for provisions, you are a sitting duck no matter what tax bracket he's in, right? If you have no recourse, no solutions, no ability to solve your own problems financially, you know, that's a very, very vulnerable place. And to me, some of your light dims, some of your creativity dims, because then your life becomes always having to be concerned what another person thinks of you. So you filter what you feel and what you think and what you want through their approval lens. And it's like you're living on crutches your entire life, or at least for the duration of your relationship. And that's not femininity to me. That's not femininity at all to me. You know, when you are free to express yourself and you feel safe and you feel like your creativity is in no way stifled and you feel like your opinions are encouraged and appreciated, then that's a better existence to be in. But a lot of times the advice that y'all are getting about relationships and just finding someone with money to solve all your problems, to me, there's a bigger picture at play. And the bigger picture is life. And the fact that a lot of the advice that you're getting and who you're getting it from are people who just enjoyed the luck of the draw. People who did things that were unconventional and they just happened to work out. And because the results have worked for them, they can now spin that into some sort of monetization vehicle when they really don't have an answer for you, or they don't have an answer that's really repeatable when you're talking about emotions. Because that's really what all relationships are. They're emotional. Now you can do the background checks, make sure there's no criminal smudges on anyone. You can do some sort of audit of the money and see how they spend and see if they're responsible with their spending habits and all that. And none of that guarantees that you're going to be with that person for the rest of your life. None of that guarantees that they're going to be generous and appreciative and protective of you. You know, it's still a coin toss, if you will. And I would say the women that can endure the most are the ones who are self-centered, the ones who do not give up their identity for anyone and decide that they are going to choose the easiest route for themselves, whether they're in a relationship or not. And the easiest route is the route that you can control. It's not the route that you give over autonomy and decision making to somebody else. The easiest route for any person is the route where you are in control of what you do and how you do it and when you do it. That's really the epitome of peace of mind, in my opinion. So, you know, with all that I'm saying here and being a coach myself, and I often and almost always emphasize the value of your time, valuing your time and not wasting it on making the same mistakes again, or not wasting it on believing people's lies or, you know, the sales pitch of anybody else, because it's time that you can't get back. You can't get yesterday back. It's over. It really is over. And what I'm concerned about as I watch the collective and what women are gravitating towards now, my concern is that we are excited about anger, where we want pity parties and arenas and circle groups where we can lash out at other people because we're not getting what we want. And we're sort of like looking for the best place and the most flashy place to lick our wounds. And nothing's getting solved because we want a distraction. We want that instant gratification of calling somebody out or being rude or mean-spirited to somebody. And really the people who don't care about you don't really care about your anger either. They're not intimidated by you. So those of you who are looking for those kinds of outlets where men are condemned for not being good human beings or whatever it is, I'm telling you that you're wasting your time, because you have to come back to your own mirror. You have to come back to your own mirror and really dig deep and expose why you are attracted to things that aren't good for you, right? Why are you still yearning for things that you cannot be? And that's the big cipher, right? So while it's feeling good to go, it's your fault, it's your fault, it's your fault, you still have to come back to yourself. None of us are perfect. And that's not really the goal, at least not for my coaching clients, not for my platform, and not for my ministry, and not for my teachings, is to try to make women better. I want you to be more accepting of yourself, not necessarily better, because better for who and for what? Better for who and for what? Because if you're already giving of yourself, and a lot of you have given of yourself. You've given your time, you've given your energy, you've given your money, you've given the best that you had to give. And the results it wasn't worth the squeeze in the end. So it's not really about being better. It's about opening your eyes and not wanting the distraction over the truth, not wanting to be lied to over the truth, right? This is really the journey that every one of you are on. And I'm here to help. You know, as always, I am here to help. You don't have to go through this thing alone. You don't have to go through it confused. But I will say this, for anybody contemplating reaching out to me, I'm going to tell you things that you don't want to hear. I'm going to tell you truth. Some things it may be hurtful, may even be insensitive. But my approach is that we don't have time to sugarcoat anything. If you're over 35 or approaching 35, you really have to put your big girl panties on and really face what you need to alter in your life in order to get another result, in order to feel better about yourself. So if you're looking for the feel good stuff and someone to just give you some empty pump ups, that's not going to happen here. A lot of the journey is going to sting. It's going to be painful, but it's going to be liberating as well. So if you're ready for that kind of energy and you're ready to stop the denial and stop the deflection and stop just wanting to be busy to distract yourself from something, you're very much welcome to contact me, and I would love to work with you. But I'm only looking for those women who are ready to make a change. All right, UGC, I'm out of here. Peace and love.